In this video, I'll show you how to measure your windows properly so you can order white shutters with confidence and transform your home. Measurements should be taken in front of the frame, so decide on the fitting position first. Your handle position or protrusion might influence this, or any plastic trim surrounding your window. Measure in 3 places across the width, at the bottom, middle, and top, and record all 3 sizes. You will need the smallest width to order from. Again, with the height, measure the left, centre, and right side of your opening. Take note of the sizes and use the smallest height to order from. Deductions. When fitting in a recess and screwing the frame to your window, you will need to deduct 10 to 12 mm from the smallest width and height sizes you take to allow for 5 to 6 mm fitting clearance all round the frame. This creates a neat shadow gap that does not need filling. After these deductions, the sizes left will be your actual order frame sizes. On large or out of square windows, deduct 12 mm. Smaller square windows only require 10 mm to be deducted. When fitting sideways, deduct 6 to 8 mm, depending on window size and how square it is. So, for square windows, deduct 6 mm. This will give you 3 mm clearance between your frame and recess around each side. For larger windows, deduct 8 mm. This will provide more adjustment to align the frame within the recess. It's also worth checking the front opening size of your recess to make sure the frame you're ordering will fit, as sometimes the recess gets smaller towards the room. So measure right at the front of the recess to check. To confirm, always ensure you have deducted your fitting clearance and you're using your actual frame order sizes when placing your order online. Middle rails. If you have a rail on your window, it's normally best to match a rail on your shutter. Middle rails that line up with your window handles allow the frame to be installed closer to the window, as the louvers will tilt above or below the handle. Sizes are required from the bottom up, so measure up from the windowsill to the centre of where you would like your rail, usually the centre of the fixed rail on your window. Remember to deduct any fitting clearance from your rail height. For example, if you are deducting 10 mm in total from your order height to obtain a 5 mm shadow gap, you would need to deduct 5 mm from your rail height to match. There is some manufacturing tolerance in the final rail height position. It can vary as much as half a louver, depending on your order height, louver size, and rail position. So rails can be slightly lower or higher than your order height. Bear this in mind when lining rails up with handles. Handle depth. Measure how far the handle protrudes past the window frame to ensure the louver blades don't catch. Measure from the window frame, not the actual opening part of the window. Check this measurement with the louver protrusion guide in the technical information to see if you need any extensions or to change your fitting position. Remember, you can easily swap your handle to a low profile design. This can provide a much neater fitting. There is a video on our blog showing you how. Tier height. Tier-on-tier shutters come with a horizontal T-post. Measure from the windowsill to the centre of where you would like the centre of the T-post. On this window, the T-post is being matched to the fixed rail on the window. However, depending on your window style, you could measure to the top of the handle or where the glass starts. The width of a T-post is 60 mm. So if you want the top level with a feature on your window, remember to deduct 30 mm, so that you're ordering to the centre of the T-post. Like the rail heights, you will also need to deduct any fitting clearance from your tier height. For example, if you are deducting 10 mm in total from your order height to obtain a 5 mm shadow gap, you will need to deduct 5 mm from your tier height to match. T-posts. Wide windows lend themselves to a T-post design. With straight handles, T-posts can be used to install the frame closer to your window, as the handle sits behind the side stile of the shutter. Your handle needs to be within 64mm from the centre of the T-post for the louvers to miss the handle. You can check this by reviewing the technical information. Measure from the left recess to the centre of each T-post. Again, remember to deduct any fitting clearance from the T-post sizes when ordering. If you have allowed a 5mm shadow gap, you would need to deduct 5mm from your T-post sizes. So 2 T-posts measuring 600mm and 1600mm would become 595mm and 1595mm. These become your T-post 1 and 2 order sizes that you would enter on the order form. Level. Using a spirit level, check the window is level across the windowsill, top, left side and right side of the window. Sometimes the window can be out of level but still square. You can check the squareness by measuring across the diagonal. The sizes will be the same if the window's square. If the sizes are, say, 10mm different, the window will be 5mm out of square, so allow more fitting clearance to create a larger shadow gap. This will provide more space to adjust the frame and disguise the fact the window is out of level. Bumps in the plaster or out-of-level window reveals look less obvious with a larger shadow gap. Shutter frames fitted further in the recess also help disguise any out-of-level windows. You could also choose to fit the frame at the front of the recess and use the cover strip to hide the gap. So to recap, the key things to check when measuring are: always take the smallest width and height sizes. Measure in front of where the shutter frame will fit. Deduct the fitting clearance from any middle rail sizes, tier heights or T-post widths and the main width and height sizes. Check how level the window is and adjust the shadow gap to suit. Measuring tips. As promised, here are a few more tips to help you measure. Hopefully obvious, but use a steel tape measure like we're using in this video. If you're struggling to read the measurement by bending the tape into the corner, then measure from the back of the tape measure. Then add on the width of the tape measure to your sizes. Most tape measures allow for this and provide a measurement to add on. And finally, always get somebody to check your measuring and that it's written down correctly. A good way to double check if you're measuring on your own is to measure in inches or centimetres and then convert it back to millimetres. You can also find tips and advice on measuring on our blog. You should now be ready to order your shutters, which you can do on our simple order form found on our website, whiteshutters.co.uk.